Hi Hops, my name is Serenity and I code a lot of music. Until recently, coding music has been a daunting task for hopscotchers who don't know what to do with the app's limited pitch and instrument capabilities. Most music projects looked a lot like this. Which is great for simple melodies, but it uses the wait times that are already tacked onto the sound blocks in the app. Because most blocks don't execute instantly, simultaneous sounds and polyphony are difficult. Not to mention, the code gets really long. You hear how the chords don't line up perfectly? Recently, a few music lovers have been working to change that. Now, music can sound more like this. The best part? You can organize sound in multiple objects and can even make visuals to go along with what you've made. This is called the Wend method, and this is how it works. We'll start with a blank text object. This is our metronome, and its job is to keep time for every other sound in the project. To do this, we'll have it continuously increase the master value, I like to call it measure, by a very small amount. Since I use measure equals 0.25 as an eighth note, I make sure our metronome increases the measure by a factor of 0.25, or 0.25 divided by 2 over and over. And now we can get to the music. For each note, we'll set a rule to when measure equals a number. It's much like when you see measure numbers in sheet music. A quarter note in measure 1 plays when measure equals 0.25, or measure equals 0.5 here since I didn't want to deal with tiny decimals. It's very important that we set the wait time in the sound block to 0. The space between the notes will be taken up by the metronome, and we don't want this block's pausing to disrupt that. I also like to keep my code organized using custom rules to divide the song into sections, so I'm not blasted with code every time I open an object. With the first bit done, let's test it out. Oh, that's way too fast. Another perk of the Wend method is that we can adjust the tempo of the whole project at once without going in and changing each wait block. That is much better. A smaller increase value equals a slower tempo. Now I've coded the rest of the melody. I want the song to go loop itself, so I'm going back into the metronome block and setting the measure back to 1 once it hits the end of the song, which in this case is 51 measures. So let's test that the music really will play forever. Perfect, okay. Since we can add a note anywhere in the project instead of in one specific rule, I'm using a separate object for each voice. This is similar to how people actually write music. Rarely do composers have an entire piece in mind from the get-go. They could write the violin part, then the piccolo part, then the horn part. I could start at the end of the piece if I wanted to. The copy and paste feature saves the day. I've now finished the bass line, and because I'm feeling ambitious today, I think I'm going to add some drums. Another way to make things more efficient with repeated notes or sections is to put an OR block into the rule. or 4 or 8. I usually do this with long lines that repeat twice, or short lines that repeat many times. One background later, and we have a finished project! To protect the rights of the person who composed this music, I won't play it here, but you can find the project on Hopscotch by clicking on my profile. Music coders continue to innovate by the day. Currently, I'm looking into combining this method with the values method by Nobody the User and his sister Tank 2016. Until then, happy hopscotching, everybody!